Whew. Hello, everyone. I'm Daniel. Sorry, I'm just getting back from the ocean. Ooh, it's nice out there. Thank you for joining me for class today. I'm out at the beach today, so I appreciate you coming here to do some yoga with me. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We've got some music playing. Hopefully, you can hear that. We got the waves and the ocean sounds playing in the background as well. I'm really excited about today. Just go ahead and get started in a seated position. We'll get started in just a moment. We have Coney here to say hi. Yes, he's at the beach with me. He loves the beach as well. Okay, so let's get started in a comfortable seated position with your shins crossed. And for today, what we have is a Vinyasa flow class. We're definitely going to flow. It's the end of the week. We're ready to just have fun this evening on a Friday night, 7 o'clock here on the East Coast. And this is going to be more of a, let's say, I guess, intermediate style class. So I'm going to go at my pace and just let me know in the chat if it's a little too much. Otherwise, just go at your pace. I'm just going to adjust the music here 1 second. And this is if I'm and just start to deepen your breath. All right, here we go. So you're in a cross-legged seated position. If you ever have trouble sitting like this, you can always sit up on something like a block, or you can always roll your mat up if you'd like. You can also sit up on a pillow. If you have a towel from the beach, you can use that as well. Otherwise, just root your sit bones down, place your arms down by your sides, your palms on your knees, or your palms in the center of your chest. Let's just take some deep breaths together. Let's inhale deeply and completely, and exhale. Another inhale deeply and completely, and exhale. 2 more just like that. Nice deep inhale, and exhale. Another deep inhale, and exhale. Just release that. Alright, we're going to get started on our backs. So just get there the best way you know. You can extend your legs out in front of you. And just roll down gently onto your back. Start by hugging your knees into your chest. So hugging both knees in. You can wrap your hands either around your shins or around your thighs. But either way, you're just going to gently rock left and right. As we gently rock, we're just loosening up that low back. Just getting it ready for the rest of practice. And 1 or 2 more times to each side. And just come back to stillness. Take an inhale here. And exhale. Okay, mind your surroundings. We're going to extend the left leg forward. We're going to hold on to that right knee. Left heel comes to the ground. Now let's switch that. So draw that left knee back into your chest. And right leg forward, right heel to the ground. And let's switch that. Draw the right knee in. Extend that left leg forward. And switch it up. Draw the left knee in. Extend the right leg forward. Keep going on your breath. Inhale one side. Exhale on the other. Hi, Coney. Yes, Coney is here to do yoga with us as well today. Maybe you guys have some pets at your home. Anyone else joining you at the beach today? Keep going. Your heel can touch the ground. That's fine. Try and keep your feet flexed with your toes coming back towards your face. 1 or 2 more times each side. And just draw both knees into your chest. Okay, so keep both arms wrapped around that right knee or right thigh. Extend that left leg forward. Draw those left toes back, flexing the left toes. The left heel comes to the ground. Now take your left palm, place it on your left hip. Take your right palm, place it on top of that right knee. We're just going to gently make some circles with that right knee. Opening up that hip joint. Nice circles. That left palm is on your left hip to keep it from rising up. So if when you're making your circles, that left hip wants to prop up, maybe reduce the size of your circles. Just give a gentle press down with that left hand. Because let's go the opposite direction in your rotations. Still making circles on the wall, still gently pressing that left thigh into the ground. We're just opening up this hip point. We're going to move to the other side in a second. 1 or 2 more times. And draw that right knee back into your chest. Draw the left knee to meet the right knee and give a nice little squeeze. And now extend that right leg forward, right heel to the mat. Right toes are flexed, coming back towards your face. Now take your right palm, place it on your right thigh. Take your left palm, place it on top of that left knee. And let's make some gentle circles here as well. Just circling around. Again, trying to keep both sit bones rooted. Trying to avoid lifting that right hip up. Okay, let's switch directions in those rotations. We're just gently opening things up here. And 1 or 2 more rotations. And just draw that left knee back into your chest. Draw the right knee to meet that one. Give a nice little squeeze, take an inhale. And exhale. Alright, we're coming up all the way to tabletop, so you can get there your way. Take your time. You might want to just hold the backs of your thighs, roll up and down your spine a couple times. If you don't want to do that, you can always just, from your knees hugged in, you can roll to your side. Use your top arm to press yourself up. If you're rolling up your spine, you can cross your legs and come forward. Either way, we're all meeting in the tabletop, so just get there your way. Okay, in our tabletop, our arms are going to be shoulder width distance. Hands are directly beneath those shoulders. Now your knees are going to be closer together. Those are going to be hips width distance, so directly beneath your hips. Tops of the feet to the mat. You're going to just softly draw your navel in and up towards that lower spine. Keep a nice long spine, slight tuck of the chin. Arms are engaged, palms are slightly pressing into the mat. Take an inhale here. And exhale. Alright, let's add some cat-cow. So let's start with our cow. Let's inhale as we arch our back, send our heart forward, look up into cow. Reverse that, exhale into cat, round our back, separate the shoulder blades, let the head fall. Reversing that into cow, arching the back, send the heart forward, look up. And exhale, rounding in the cat, separating the shoulder blades, letting the head fall. Reversing that, inhale as we arch the back, send the heart forward, look up. Exhale, round the back, let the head hang heavy. 2 more times on your breath. Inhaling into cow. Exhaling into cat. And 1 more time each side. Rounding into cat. And just come back to neutral position. So now in your neutral tabletop, we're going to add some arm and some legs to this. So we're going to extend our right arm forward, right palm faces in, and now extend your left leg back. Left leg is up at hip height, left toes are flexed just like we had on the ground. You should still have a nice straight spine here. Stay for a breath, take an inhale, and exhale. Release that right arm down, release the left arm down. Let's switch sides. So extend that left arm forward, right leg back this time. Make sure you're flexing those right toes. Right leg is about hip height. Left palm faces in, stay for 1 more breath. And release down. Let's do that 1 more time each side. So extend that right arm forward, right palm faces in. Left leg back, left toes are flexed. Stay for an inhale. Exhale, release both to the ground. Switching to the other side 1 more time. Left arm forward, right leg back, right toes face the mat. Hug the navel in and up, stay for a breath. And exhale, release that down to the mat. Okay, we're going to do that 1 more time, but we're going to add some curls. If you want to just do what we did, you can just stay with both appendages extended out. If you want to add a little bit of a curl, we're going to add a curl as we go. So it's going to start like this. Extend that left leg back, left toes flex, right arm forward, right palm faces in. Now add a little bit of a back bend, a little bit of a cow here. And now exhale as you round your back, bring that knee in to meet your elbow, and let's extend back out, left toes face the ground or flex, and exhale round into your cat. One more time. Inhale out, arch your back into cow, and exhale round that back into cat. Release that right arm down, left knee down. Let's do the other side. Extending that left palm forward, right leg back, right knees, right toes to the ground. Add a little bit of back bend into cow, and exhale round the back into cat. Inhale as you extend into cow, exhale as you round into cat. One more time. Inhale, extend, and exhale, round. Okay, drop both arms down to the mat, both knees down to the mat, and press yourself back into Balasana, child's pose. You have a couple options for child's pose. Your knees can be together, they can stay hips width distance. You can even separate your knees out to the width of the mat. Toes can either stay hips width distance or bring your big toes into touch. Once you have that, just release your forehead to the mat. If it doesn't quite reach, you can use a block or a pillow if you have one. Arms are extended straight out, palms face down, or you can have your arms back towards your heels. Just staying here for a couple breaths. One more breath here. Okay, just start to press yourself up. Extend your arms forward if they're back by your sides. Walk your hands back up towards your knees. We're coming to sit our hips back on our heels. Now, if this is a little too much for you, you can always put a block or two in between both feet, or a pillow, whatever you have to sit on. And if that's just too much, and if you don't have any blocks, you can just come back to a comfortable cross-legged seat position. Either way, just find your comfortable spot. We're just going to address the wrist a little bit. So once you're in your comfortable position, go ahead and clasp both fingers together, but have a nice little light clasp. You don't want to go all the way up to the webbing. It's maybe about halfway down the fingers, that first or second knuckle. Okay, with your light clasp, we're just going to make some rotations, like some figure 8 with your wrists. This will kind of gently release anything that built up from those tabletop poses. Keep going, figure 8, or I like to call it infinity symbol as well. Okay, let's switch directions in those rotations. Yeah, no real science to this, just loosening up those wrists. No wrong way to do this. Okay, just come back to neutral position. Release the clasp of your hands and place your hands back down to your sides. Alright, we're coming back into tabletop, so wherever you are, if you're seated cross-legged, just send those legs back behind you. We're coming into tabletop just for a moment here. Once you're in your tabletop, making sure your arms are shoulder width distance, knees and feet are hips width distance. This time you're going to curl your toes under. Once your toes are curled under, lift your knees up an inch or two off the ground. And now let's lift our knees all the way up as we start to straighten our legs, send our hips back into our first downward facing dog. You may need to walk your feet forward or back just to align yourself in that downward facing dog. And this is our first downward facing dog, so just take your time. Just pedal your legs out, pedal the backs of the legs out, maybe lift one heel, lift the other. First downward facing dog here. If downward facing dog is ever too much for you, you can always just drop back down to tabletop. Okay, come back to stillness in your downward facing dog. Bend those knees a little bit. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, walk your hands back to your feet. Walk your hands back to your feet. Keep those feet hips width distance. And stay in your forward fold. So now we're coming into ragdoll here. So you can bend your knees as much as you'd like. You can even rest your chest on your thighs. Let both arms hang heavy, and then grab opposite elbows with opposite hands. Once you have that, just let your head hang heavy in between both arms. So arms and head are nice and heavy. You're still actively pressing those feet down into the mat. Just
spinning those inner thighs in and back so legs are still engaged, but you're gently releasing in that low back, softening the shoulders away from the ears. Stay here for 2 more breaths. One more inhale. And exhale. Alright, now release the clasp of your elbows, stay in your forward fold. We're going to come up slowly to standing, but I want to emphasize slowly. So we're going to roll up from the low back, one vertebrae at a time, and your head's going to be the last thing to rise. So go ahead and start to roll up from that low back, rolling up ever so slowly. One vertebrae at a time, head is the last thing to arrive. Take your time coming up. And once you do come up, just go ahead and shrug those shoulders up and back. Just shake it out a little bit. Yeah. Okay, now come to the top of your mat now. Maybe about 6 to 8 inches from the top of your mat. Have your feet hips width distance. Heels behind those center toes. Arms are down at your sides, palms face forward. This is our mountain pose. Want to actively draw our tailbone down to correct that forward pelvis shift that a lot of us have. So try and draw that tailbone down. Try and lift those frontal hip points up to those front bottom ribs. Soften the shoulder blades away from the ears. Take an inhale. And exhale. Okay, we're gonna move. Here we go. Inhale, arms up, chest up, look up. Exhale, forward fold, release the hands down to the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold, place your hands to the mat. Send your right foot back, send your left foot back. We're here in plank. Stay in plank for a moment. You can always drop to your knees in plank if you need to. Otherwise, stay up with one more breath. Okay, now everyone drop their knees to the ground. Shift your torso forward, bend the elbows back as you lower all the way to the mat, forehead to the mat. Now uncurl those back toes. Press your hands into the mat, draw the backs of your shoulder blades together, press the hips down into the mat, and on your next inhale, lift your head up and your chest up into baby cobra. Keep drawing the backs of those shoulder blades together. We're looking for more length and height here. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, release down to the mat. Curl those back toes under. Press yourself up into tabletop. And then lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Now we're here for maybe 3 breaths. Making sure your arms are still shoulder width distance. Feet are hips width distance. Check in with those wrist creases. Make sure they're lined up with the short edge of your mat or maybe slightly turned out. One more breath here. And exhale. Alright, inhale as you gaze forward. Bend the knees. Exhale, walker step to the top of the mat this time. So feet come up to the hands. Feet are hips width distance. Inhale, rise up, halfway lift, nice flat back, hands to the shins. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms out and up, chest up, look up. Exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. Let's do that again. Inhale, arms up, chest up, look up. Exhale, forward fold, knees can bend. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Place both palms down, step your left foot back, step your right foot back into plank. Stay here for 2 breaths. You can always drop to your knees. Try and hug that navel in and up, making sure your shoulders are directly over your wrists. One more inhale. And exhale, everyone drop to your knees. Shift the torso forward, bend the elbows back as you lower the torso all the way to the mat, forehead to the ground. Uncurl those back toes. Press the hips and the tops of the feet into the ground. Inhale, lift your head up and your chest up into baby cobra. Draw the backs of the shoulder blades together. Maybe lift your hands off the ground. Stay for one more breath. And place the hands back down. Release the forehead to the mat. Curl those back toes under. Press yourself up into tabletop. Lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Again, we're here for 3 breaths again. You can gently pedal out your legs if you want to. Knees can always bend as much as you like in downward facing dog. Just press your chest back towards your thighs. Spin those inner thighs in and back. One more breath here. And exhale. Now inhale, gaze forward. Bend your knees. Exhale, walker step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms out and up, chest up, look up. Exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. All right, well done. Okay, we're gonna come into a wide-legged stance now. So you can face the long edge of your mat, and you're coming into a wide-legged stance. So you're looking to be about maybe one leg's distance apart. You can kind of measure that if you like extend your arms out. If you were to drop something below your wrist, that's right where your ankles would be. But just go to your capacity. You still want to be comfortable here. Now start with your feet lined up nice and parallel. So your heels are still behind those center toes. Nice one leg's distance apart. Now actively hug the outer edges of those legs in towards each other. Place your hands on your wrists, on your hips. Now inhale, slight back bend, look up. We're coming into a forward fold on your exhale, so you send the heart forward. Try and keep a nice long spine as you forward fold in your Prasarita Padottanasana. Once you come down about halfway, you can release your arms to the ground. Maybe your fingertips are on the ground, maybe they're on a block, or maybe your palms come all the way to the ground. Wherever you are, try and shift a little bit of the weight forward into your toes rather than your heels, but still keep those heels down. If your hands are on the mat, you can start to walk them back towards the back edge of your mat. Maybe you line your wrists up, your wrist creases up with those ankles. Either way, still shift some more of the weight into the toes rather than the heels. Keep pressing those feet down in the mat, hugging the legs in together. Take one more inhale. And exhale. If your hands are underneath you, walk them back out so that your hands are underneath your shoulders. Bring your arms and hands up to your hips. Lift up halfway. Slight bend in the knees as you raise your torso up all the way. Now keep those legs on nice wide-legged stance. We're coming into Warrior 2. So let's start with this right leg first. So externally rotate this entire right leg so those right toes now face the short edge of your mat. Internally rotate this back leg, these left toes, just a tiny bit so that the left toes are slightly forward than that left heel. Now make sure you look down. What you're looking for is heel to arch alignment. So if you were to draw a line from those center toes of your right foot down through that heel and extend back, it should intersect with the arch of that back left foot. Heel toe your feet left or right if you need to realign. Now square your shoulders up to the long edge of your mat. Extend both arms out, fingertips falling away from each other. And now bend that front knee, bend that right knee. Now when you bend that right knee, make sure that right knee is tracking over that right ankle. And see if you can track that right knee to the outside edge of that right foot. Rather than the inside edge, track it to that pinky toe edge. Yeah, see how that feels. Now stay for an inhale here. And exhale. Now let's make this a little more dynamic. So we're going to straighten that front leg, that right leg. Raise both arms up, palms touch. And exhale, release back down into Warrior 2. Inhale, straighten that front leg, both palms touch. Exhale, release down into Warrior 2. Look over those right fingertips. 2 more times. Inhale, straighten that front leg, both palms touch. Exhale, back down into Warrior 2. 1 more time. Inhale, straighten that leg, both palms touch. Exhale, back down into Warrior 2. Stay here for a breath. And now let's reverse this. So keep that right knee bent. Drop that left arm down. Lift that right arm up. Creating some nice length in that right side of the body. Stay here for 1 more breath. And exhale, spin both arms forward and down to the mat. Both palms come down to the mat to either edge of that right foot. Extend that right foot to meet the back foot. You're now in your plank. Drop your knees to the mat. Shift your torso forward. Bend the elbows back over all the way to the mat. Uncurl the back toes. We're coming up into our baby cobra. Lifting the head up and the chest up. Keep pressing those hips down into the mat. Stay for 1 more breath. And exhale, release the forehead to the mat. Curl those back toes under. Press the hips up into tabletop. Lift the hips up and back into downward facing dog. We're here just for a breath. You're going to inhale as you gaze forward. Bend the knees. Exhale, walker step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale, arms out and up, chest up, look up. Exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. All right, we're coming into that wide-legged stance again. So a nice wide-legged stance. If you want to face the other edge of your mat, whatever works for you, might depend on where the camera is. I'm sorry, where your screen is, but I'm still going to face the camera. So a nice wide-legged stance. Make sure those feet are parallel, heels behind those center toes, nice and straight. Now bring your hands to your hips this time. We're coming into another version of Prasarita Padottanasana, but we're going to start getting into it the same way. So we're going to inhale as we arch our back, look up. Exhale, try and keep that nice long spine as you forward fold. And once you come down to about halfway, release your arms from your hips. See if you can take your first two fingers and wrap them around your big toes. Yeah, first two fingers wrap in and under your big toes, and then the thumbs wrap underneath your fingers. Again, we're shifting more weight into the toes rather than the heels. And if this is inaccessible for you, you can stay in that first version of Prasarita Padottanasana with your hands below you or your hands on your hips. Either way, we're still shifting more of the weight forward into the toes, but still keeping the heels down, hugging those legs in towards each other, still elongating the spine, softening the shoulder blades away from the ears. Take one more inhale here, and exhale. Okay, release that yogi toe grip if you have it. Have your arms underneath your shoulders. Hug those legs in towards each other. Give a slight bend in the knees. Press the feet into the mat. Release the hands to the hips. And gently lift your torso back up to where we started. Whew. Okay, so we got to do Warrior 2 sequence on the other side. So now I'm working with my left leg here. So with my left leg forward, I'm going to externally rotate my entire left leg so that my left toes now face the short edge of the mat. I'm going to internally rotate my right leg so that my right toes are slightly forward than my right heel. Looking for that heel to arch alignment. I'm actually going to wiggle my toes over slightly just so I have that heel to arch alignment. Once I have that, I'm going to bend my left knee over my left ankle. Extend both arms out, fingertips falling away from each other. Now try and track that left knee over those left toes. Rather than coming in, you want that left knee to go out to those left toes. Take an inhale here. And exhale. Gaze comes over those left fingertips. Let's make this dynamic. Let's inhale as we straighten that front leg. Both arms come up, palms touch. Exhale, bend that left knee, arms out into Warrior 2. Inhale, straighten that front leg, both palms touch. And exhale into Warrior 2. Two more times. Inhale, arms up, straighten that leg. Exhale, Warrior 2. Make sure that knee tracks to the outside edge. Inhale, straighten that front knee. And exhale, release back down to Warrior 2. Stay here for a breath. Alright, keep that front knee, that left knee bent. Drop that right arm down. Lift that left arm up into your reverse warrior. Maybe your palm faces back. Creating some nice length in that left side of the body. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, come back into Warrior 2. And spin both arms forward and down. Palms come to the ground. Spin up on that back heel. Send that left foot to meet the back foot. You're now in your plank pose. We'll stay here for 2 breaths. You can always drop to your knees if you need to. One more breath here. And now everyone drop to your knees. Send the torso forward. Bend the elbows, lower all the way to the mat. Uncurl those back toes. Press the tops of the feet and the hips into the ground. Draw the backs of the shoulder blades together. Inhale as you lift your head up and your chest up into baby cobra. Maybe straighten your arms into full cobra. Or you can lift your legs off the ground into upward facing dog. Either way, you're drawing the backs of the shoulder blades together, sending the heart forward. One more breath. And exhale, gently release all of that to the mat. Forehead to the mat.
Curl those back toes under, press your hips up and back into tabletop. Lift the hips all the way up into downward facing dog. Stay here just for a breath. Now inhale as you gaze forward. Bend the knees, exhale, walker step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms out and up, chest up, look up. Exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. All right. So we should be nice and warmed up. Let me see, how are we looking on time here? All right, good. So let's do another series here. So let's start at the top of your mat. Feet are hips width distance. Heels behind those center toes. Let's come into our chair pose. So chair pose, start by bending the knees, sending the hips back, arms come forward, palms face each other. Now make sure you can look down and see those toes. If you can't, you need to shift those hips back slightly. Arms should be nice and straight. No arch in the back, try and keep the back nice and straight. Take one more inhale here. And exhale, forward fold, knees can bend. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Place the palms down to the mat. Step the right foot back, step the left foot back. Drop the knees to the mat. Shift the torso forward, bend the elbows lower all the way to the ground. Uncurl the back toes, lift up into your version of back bend. And exhale, release down to the mat. Curl those back toes under, press yourself up into tabletop. Lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Hi, Oliver. Alright, from downward facing dog, lift that right foot up. Right toes are flexed, right toes face the mat. And curl that right knee into your chest. Send that torso forward. You're shifting your shoulders over your wrists. Drop that right foot to the mat. Wiggle those right toes forward. And drop that left knee to the ground. Uncurl those back toes. Place the left arm below your left shoulder and lift that right arm up into a nice easy twist. This is called easy twist. It's not always that easy. Right palm should face forward. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, release that right arm to the mat. Curl those back toes under. Lift that knee up. Send that right foot to meet the back foot into plank. Drop those right knees to the ground. Shift the torso forward, bend the elbows back, lower all the way to the mat. Uncurl those back toes, lift up into your version of baby cobra, full cobra, or upward facing dog. Exhale, release down to the mat. Curl those back toes under. Press yourself up into tabletop. Lift your hips up into downward facing dog. We're going to the other side now, so let's lift that left leg up, flex those left toes, bend that left knee into your chest, shift the torso forward, shoulders over wrists, drop that left foot to the mat, wiggle it to the top of the mat, make sure both feet are on their own sides of the mat, drop that right knee to the ground, uncurl those back right toes, place that right arm underneath that right shoulder, you can be on your fingertips as well, and then inhale as you lengthen that left arm up, left palm faces forward. Look up here into your nice easy twist. Stay for one more breath here. And exhale, release that left arm down to the mat. Curl those right toes under, lift that right knee up. Send that left foot to meet the back foot. We're in our plank. Drop the knees to the mat. Shift our torso forward, bend the elbows lower all the way to the ground. Uncurl those back toes. Inhale as you lift your head up and your chest up into your version of baby cobra, full cobra, or upward facing dog. Hug those outer ankles in either way. And exhale, release down to the mat. Curl those back toes under, press yourself up into tabletop. Lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. We're here for 3 breaths. If you need a break, you can drop to your knees. We got a break coming up, so don't worry. Keep pressing the base of each finger and each palm into the mat, sending the chest back towards the thighs. One more inhale. And exhale. Now inhale, gazes forward. Bend the knees, exhale, walker step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. We're coming back into our chair pose, so arms come forward, knees stay bent, palms face each other. Stay here for one more breath. And straighten the legs, release the hands to the center of your chest, and down to the sides. Whew. All right, let's shake that out a little bit. Yeah, Oliver. All right. Whew, feels good. I can feel that wind and that mist coming off the water. I hope you guys can too. All right, we're gonna really challenge ourselves. It's a little breezy out here, but we're gonna do a balancing pose. You might have some cats near you as well to make it an extra challenge. Okay, so we're gonna work on our tree pose. And we're gonna have a couple variations along the way. So if we go a little bit further than what you're comfortable with, just stay in your version of tree. So in our tree pose, we're gonna start with our feet hips width distance, heels behind those center toes. Now shift some weight into that right foot to start. So we're shifting a little bit in that right foot. Now we're gonna bend this left knee, the left heel comes off the ground. And now, bring some awareness to your pelvis. Make sure both hip points stay forward. You're going to externally rotate this left leg out. So this left knee comes out, pelvis doesn't move, so both hip points stay forward. And now bring your hands to your hips. Now you can stay here, or if you want to walk your heel into your shin, you can stay there. If you want to bring those left toes off the ground, you can press it in that right shin. Or if you want to lift up over that knee, skipping the knee, you can press the bottom of that left foot into that right inner thigh. Thank you, Oliver. Alright, once you have this, wherever you are, bring your hands to the center of your chest in prayer pose. Take a breath here. Keep hugging this outer right thigh in. That's going to give you the stability you need. Hugging that outer right thigh in. Now let's grow our branches. Arms come out and up. Palms either face each other, or they can face up towards the ceiling or the sky if you're outside. Take one more breath here. You can stay here, or last variation, bring the palms together. We're going to add a side lean. So you're going to gently lean over that left knee, trying to keep your balance, just shifting as you need to. And let's come back to center. Release the hands to the center of your chest. Release that left leg, mind your surroundings. And coming back into Tadasana, let's shake it out a little bit. All right, how did that one go for you? We're about to do the other side, so you'll get another chance here. So, starting with your feet nice and hips width distance, heels behind those center toes. Now, let's shift some weight into that left foot this time. Bring your hands to your hips, bend that right knee so that right heel comes off the ground. Now, externally rotate while keeping your hips firm. Hip points should face forward, externally rotating that right leg to your capacity. And then you can either stay here, or you can place that heel to the shin. You can lift those right toes off the ground, or you can skip the knee and place that right foot into your thigh. Either way, you're hugging this outer left thigh, and that's really going to give you the stability while you're pressing that right foot into that thigh. Now bring the hands to the center of your chest. Once you have your balance, take an inhale here. Exhale. Alright, let's grow our branches. Arms come out and up, palms face forward or together. Nice Y shape. Nice large tree. Gently swaying in the wind. Keep hugging that outer left thigh in. Stay here or bring the palms to touch over your head. And let's add a little side lean to our right this time. Slowly shifting as you do. One more breath here. And exhale, come back to center. Wherever you are, release your hands down to the center of your chest, down to the sides. Mind your surroundings and drop that right foot to meet the left foot. Whew, let's shake it out a little bit. Alright, how you guys feeling? I'm feeling good. Okay, so let's start in our, let's start in a wide-legged stance. And you can watch just a demo real quick. I'm going to show you. We're going to actually attempt to do Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. So you can just watch me for now. But we're going to come into our Warrior 2 pose on each side. Once we're in our Warrior 2, we're going to reverse it, and we're going to come back to Warrior 2. Then we're going to shift forward. We're going to hug this outer thigh in, just like we were doing before. If you need a block, you can have that ready. Block or book or whatever you need. And then you're going to lift that back foot up off the ground. Those toes are going to face towards the side of the mat. That top arm is going to face up. Palm faces forward, just like in our twist. And then we'll try it on the other side. So, Let's go through it together. So yes, if you have blocks or if you have something that you want to put under your hand, make sure that's at the top of your mat. So start in your wide-legged stance, starting with the feet nice and parallel to start. Now I'm going to start with my right leg forward again. So within our wide-legged stance, we're going to externally rotate this right leg so it faces forward. Internally rotate so those left toes come forward. Make sure you're in that heel to arch alignment. That's going to really help for your stability. Now bend that right knee over that right ankle. Make sure that right knee tracks to the outside edge of that right toe. Extend both arms out. Shoulders should face to the long edge of your mat. Pressing down to the outside edge of that right foot. Now let's inhale as we reverse our warrior. Keep that front knee bent. And exhale back into warrior two. Now you're going to send that right arm forward, shifting your torso forward. If you need to, grab your block and then press up off that back foot. Keep flexing those back toes. Those back left toes should face the side of your mat or your wall or your not the ceiling. Now make sure you rotate that top arm so those left palms face forward. Maybe you tent up on your fingertips. Keep lifting that left leg to hip height. Stay for one more breath. You got it. Exhale, gently bend that front knee. Release that foot back into warrior two. Reverse that warrior two again, keeping that front knee bent. And exhale, spin both arms forward and down to either edge of that right foot. Send the right foot to meet the back foot in your plank pose. Lower your knees to the ground. Shift your torso forward, bend the elbows back, lower all the way to the mat. Uncurl the back toes, press your hips into the ground. Inhale, lift up into your version of back bend, drawing the backs of the shoulder blades together. And exhale, releasing down to the mat. Curling those back toes under, pressing up into tabletop, lifting the hips up into downward facing dog. Now inhale, gaze forward. Bend the knees, exhale, walker step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms out and up, chest up, look up. Exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. All right. We get to do the other side. So if you are using blocks or anything, you can place them at the other side of the mat, or maybe you're still facing the side of the mat. But I'm going to cue the left leg forward this time. So starting in a nice wide-legged stance, heels behind those center toes. Start with your hands at your hips, and let's externally rotate this left leg so those left toes face forward. Internally rotate these right toes so they come slightly forward. We're looking for a heel to arch alignment. Once you have that, square your shoulders to the side, extend both arms out, bend that left knee over those left toes. Make sure that left knee is over the ankle. Stay for a breath here. Now let's reverse our warrior. Drop our right arm down, left arm comes up, left palm faces back. Keep that front knee bent. Exhale back into warrior two. Here we go. Keep hugging that outer left thigh in. Shifting that left arm forward. Grabbing your block if you need it. Shifting the torso forward and lifting that right leg up. Keep hugging that outer left thigh in. Right leg's up in the air. And your right palm faces forward. Keep drawing the shoulder blades towards each other, broadening those collarbones. Those right toes should be flexed, facing the side edge of the mat. Stay for one more breath here. And exhale, bend that front knee, release that back foot back into your warrior two for a breath. Inhale, reverse, drop the right arm down, lift the left arm up, lengthen that left side of the body. And exhale, spin both arms forward and down to either side of that foot. Send that right foot to meet the back foot in your plank pose. Drop your knees to the mat. Shift your torso forward, bend the elbows back, lower all the way to the ground. Uncurl the back toes, inhale, lift up into your version of back bend. Sending the pelvis forward and down, drawing the backs of the shoulder blades. Hugging those ankles in towards each other. One more breath here. Exhale, release down to the mat, forehead to the mat. Curl those back toes under. Shift your hips up into tabletop. We're staying here.
And we're going to press ourselves back into child's pose. So uncurl those toes, tops of the feet to the ground, press your hips back toward your heels. Your version of child's pose. And just stay here for a couple breaths. Just start to have nice, deep inhales and nice, deep exhales. Stay here for 2 more breaths. Okay. If your arms are by your ankles, extend your arms forward out in front of you. Begin to press yourself back up. And you're going to swing your legs out in front of you this time. So you're going to sit on your sit bones, and your legs are going to be out in front of you. With your legs extended out nice and straight, place both hands down beside each hip. Fingers face forward, wrist face back, feet are nice and flexed. We're going to come into Dandasana pose. This looks like a very simple pose, but it requires a lot of muscular engagement. So with the feet flexed, it's going to start to engage the muscles in the legs. Now you're going to try and straighten the arms without lifting yourself up. The sit bones are still rooted. So root those sit bones down, face forward, straighten those arms, press the arms into the ground. Root down through the sit bones as you rise up to the crown of the head. Nice long spine. Should be full body engagement here. Hugging the navel in and back towards that lower spine. Stay here for 1 more breath. And exhale, release everything. Whew. Stay up with your legs out in front of you. And we're going to add a little twist here. So let's bend that right knee into your chest. And now send this right foot to the outer edge of that left knee. So the outside edge of that left knee. If you can't quite do that, you can keep your foot in just on that inside edge. But if you can, place that right foot to the outside edge of that left knee. Now keep pressing that right big toe down, and send your right hand behind you. That's just for a little bit of stability. Inhale as you extend your left arm up, creating some length. Exhale as you twist, your left arm comes to the outside edge of that right knee, and twisting starting from the lower back through the torso, and lastly through the neck. Keep broadening those collarbones, drawing the backs of the shoulder blades lightly together. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale as you fold. Are you still pressing that right toe into the mat? Keep flexing that left foot. Nice long spine. Stay for 1 more breath. And exhale, release that as you turn back to center. Release both arms to either sides of the hips. Extend that right leg forward. And just shake it out a little bit before we come to the other side. Alright, so now we're coming to the other side, so let's bend that left knee into your chest. Stay here, or if you'd like, send that left foot to the outer edge of that right knee. Keep pressing that left big toe into the mat. Flex those right toes back toward your face. Send that left arm behind you just for stability. You're not using that too much to twist. And now let's inhale, right arm comes up, right palm faces in. Exhale as you twist to your left, that right elbow comes to the outside of that left knee. You're just using that as a gentle lever. You still want to initiate the twist from the lower back up through the upper spine. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale as you twist. Keep those sit bones rooted. Broaden those collarbones, actively draw the shoulder blades together. Right toes are flexed. Keep pressing that left big toe into the mat. Stay for 1 more breath. And exhale as you release that, coming back to center. Both palms to the outer edge of those thighs, extending that left foot forward. Now keeping both feet forward, both feet flexed. We're coming into Paschimottanasana, forward fold while we're seated. So inhale, both arms up, palms face each other. Keep this nice long spine, and we're going to forward fold. Try and fold just at the hip crease. Try to avoid rounding the back and just go to your capacity. You can slightly tuck the chin, sending the heart towards the toes. Keep flexing those feet. Arms can come down to the sides.
You may still be up here, you may not be folding much at all, but if you're actively trying to fold at that hip crease, you're going to engage the muscles that you need to. Keep forward folding, inhaling to lengthen. Exhale, fold slightly deeper. Keep sending that chest towards the toes. Maybe you're forward folding all the way to the shins. Stay for one more breath here. And exhale. Now begin to walk those hands back up very slowly, lifting that torso back up. Stay for a breath here. And exhale. Okay, you're going to bend your knees and you're going to send your hips forward. And you're coming back to the top of the mat. Doesn't matter which top of the mat here. Now we're coming into our last little challenge of the day, our Navasana pose. There's a couple of different variations, but we're going to go for it. So make sure your feet are hips width distance. Feet are hips width distance as well. Begin with the whole tops of the feet or the bottoms of the feet on the ground. Now start with your hands on your shins, and you're going to gently start to shift your weight back as you keep your spine nice and long. Your toes are going to lift off the ground, and then your heels are going to lift off maybe an inch or two. See how that feels. Get your balance there. Now you can stay here, or if you want to lift your shins up parallel to the ground, you can do that. Keeping both feet hips width distance apart. Staying here with a nice long spine, or you can extend the arms forward, palms face each other. Staying here, or last variation, if you want to straighten those legs and point those toes, try and keep those feet still hips width distance. Spine is nice and long. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, gently release the feet back down towards the mat. We're rolling onto our backs. Just gently hold onto your legs as you roll onto your back. Nice and slowly. And once you're on your back, keep your knees slightly bent. Lift your feet off the ground and let your knees fall to the side. So I'm letting my knees fall to the left side first. With my knees falling off to the left side, I'm going to extend both arms out into a T or a field goal post, but try and have both palms up towards the ceiling. Now if your knees are to the left, try and keep that right shoulder blade on the ground. If you need to, you can always put like a block in between your knees, that can help, or a block underneath your knees. If your knees are to the left, your gaze can be to the ceiling, or you can start to turn your neck to look over those right fingertips. This last little nice twist for the entire spine here. Try to keep your knees up to at least hip height. Stay for 2 more breaths here. So we're beginning to wind down practice. And exhale. Okay, gaze comes back up to the ceiling. Knees come back up to center and drop them down to the other side. You can keep that block in between your knees if you have it, and keep both arms out to a T or a field goal post with the palms facing up. Staying here for 2 more breaths. Last inhale here. And exhale. Okay, inhale, bring those knees back up into center. Release any block you may have. Have your arms down by your sides. Hug your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around your knees or your thighs. Give it one last squeeze. Hug that navel in and down. Give a nice little squeeze. And exhale, release everything. Release your arms down to the sides. Palms face up. Extend both feet forward. Legs are straight. And we're coming into our Shavasana pose here. So with your arms down at your side, have your palms face up. Let your knees and your feet fall out to the sides. Don't worry, I'll ask them to turn down the music as we release into our Shavasana. Now's a good time to just check in. Do you have any last little bit of tension in your body? Maybe your jaw is still clenched. You can release your top jaw from your bottom. Are you kind of curling in your brow? You can release any little bit of tension there. Maybe your fingers and your toes are still tensed up. Last little bit of release there. Just let your body hang heavy and just melt into the mat. Okay, bring some awareness back into your body. Maybe you wiggle your fingers and your toes. You can rotate your wrists and your ankles. And switch directions in those rotations. And come back to stillness for one last breath here. And now turn on to one side. You can lightly bend your knees as you turn to one side. As you come to one side of your body, stay here for one last breath. And just gently use your top arm to press yourself up. Maybe your eyes stay closed or your gaze softens as you come into a nice, comfortable, cross-legged, seated position to complete our practice here. Once you're in your seat, your palms can come to the tops of your knees, palms can face up, or your hands can come together at the center of your chest. Thank you for joining me in practice today. The light and love in me acknowledges, honors the light and love in each one of you. Thank you. Peace. Oh, thank you all for joining me in practice today. I hope you had fun at the beach with me. Again, my name is Daniel Schleig. We're doing lots of these live streaming classes. I'm starting to have fun with the backgrounds here, so you can join me. We'll be switching it up in the future. You can make any requests. You can leave me some feedback either in the chat or you can send me an email. If you'd like to donate, the donation link to Movable Feast is in the description. You can donate there. Again, if you have any questions, just let me know. Otherwise, enjoy the beach. I found a pineapple growing on a tree out there, so I'm gonna try and find some coconuts too, maybe make a pina colada. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Friday and your weekends. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.